Welcome to Lancashire Business Stories, the podcast that does exactly what it says on the tin. We'll be talking to local business owners about their journey into business and how they've grown and scaled their own businesses. We'll hear about the challenges and successes of running a growing company and about some of the learnings that they've had along the way. If this is your first time viewing or listening to the podcast, then please hit the subscribe or follow button. Hope you enjoy the show. Let's get to it. Helen Dimmick, welcome to Lancashire Business Stories.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to see you. We've known each other for a while now,
yes,
but
a few
obviously
years
our
now.
listeners and our viewers don't know you. So I thought we'd start as we normally do with a little bit of background about you and your career and how you went from having a job to being a business owner.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us about how you got started?
Okay, so I have the most amazing career and it's really my vocation. I am a jewellery specialist, I'm a gemologist, a diamond grader and a jewellery historian. So I knew I wanted to be a jewellery specialist when I was 16 and I saw a picture and it was from the tomb of Tutankhamun and it was a chest plate, it was a pectoral and I couldn't believe anything was so symbolic and so beautiful. And I loved the way that jewellery told a story. And my father is profoundly deaf and I found this absolutely fascinating. So I went home and said to my parents, I want to be a jewellery specialist. And they said, that sounds fantastic. How do we make that happen? So it went from there, really. It's a very hard industry to get into. So I studied art history, I got my professional qualifications, and eventually I got a foot in the door, and then I've had an amazing career since.
And where was your first role?
So my first job was actually in industry. I'd always had a student job as a credit controller, working in an accounts department, and I actually deliberately had a year in industry. I wanted to get some business acumen. But as I say, it's hard to get into the jewellery industry, so I did a lot of volunteer work.
Yeah.
And I actually got my first job was as an office junior in Phillips Auctioneers, it's now Bonhams, in Oxford.
Wow.
And would you believe that the reason I qualified for that was because I could touch type. So it just shows you all the different things you have to do to get in.
Yeah.
But then from there, it was a steady progression. Very fortunately, the lady who was the jewellery specialist was pregnant. She took me under a wing. She was training me. I was studying as hard as I could get. So I went from there, from Oxford, I was transferred into the London branch. And really, if you like, I served my apprenticeship at the auction house because you're cataloguing so much jewellery, contemporary, modern and antique. It's just amazing. But it was from there that I realised that as much as I like the academic side, I love people. And putting people and jewellery together was what I loved. And I saw that on sale days. But I thought, no, I want this to happen more often. So then I had a role, first in retail, was at an amazing company called Bentley and Skinner. And they were royal warrant holders on Bond Street in London. And everybody will know Bentley and Skinner jewellery because it's on Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
So indeed, I used to set up the store in a morning wearing a tiara and giving a royal wave. And then very brief history. Bentley and Skinner was amazing, but I've always wanted to learn. I've always been very ambitious. And Tiffany's was across the road.
Right.
So I moved to Tiffany's, started then as a sales professional, ended up having a senior management position within the store, which was fantastic. I learned so much there. I did a lot of leadership and management development, which was incredible. But then when you got to my mid-30s, I wanted to come home. So I moved back up north. I'm a northerner, and it's very important to me.
Whereabouts are you from originally?
Macclesfield in
Okay.
Cheshire. Yeah, so I'm a Cheshire girl that's
Yes.
made the conversion over to Lancashire. But from there, I actually had a role working nationally for a company called the Company of Master Jewellers, and that's our buying group for the small independent jewellery businesses in this country.
Yeah.
And it was from there that, one, I met my now husband, and two, I actually had my first business, which was a company called Green and Benz, and I bought that through a management buyout. So I had that for several years.
And that was a jewellery store? or-
Absolutely. It was 4 stores, 2
Yeah.
independent Green and Benz and 2 Pandoras.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what a gemologist actually does then.
Yeah, a gemologist, it's wonderful. Its parent science is geology, but it's very much the specialist and scientific study of precious gemstones. Gemstones are rare, durable and beautiful and also incredibly valuable. And it's very important that we understand them, know what their properties are and can communicate this. So gemology is the study of precious gemstones. It's 2 years. I'm a fellow of the Gemological Association and I'm also a qualified diamond grader as well.
Okay.
So it's very important to me. One of the things perhaps to touch upon is somebody very early on in my career said to me, you know what, it's going to be hard for you as a woman. I've never put my gender on the agenda. But they said to me, you're going to have to be that much more qualified than your male counterpart. So the studying was really important and I worked very hard and I've actually won one of my papers. I won the Anderson Award Medal, which is for the highest mark worldwide. And I also run the UK Trade Prize, and I held a distinction in diamond grading. Now, I'm not Brains of Britain, but I don't know if you've got it in your bookshelves, but Tony Buzan, Use Your Head, was a great book to really learn, because you had to learn a lot of facts and store them in your head. So I've always wanted to be the very best at what I do. That's really important. So trusted authority and credibility is really important.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a gemologist to work in the jewellery industry, in retail, but it's really important for me that I bring that level of authority to each and every customer. It's not knowing it, it's sharing it that's the joy.
Credibility is so important in business,
Yes.
whatever line of business you're in. I think that having that credibility in the background, it helps people to trust you, doesn't it?
I think you're right. The word trust is so important,
Yeah.
especially for us. And it's also, obviously, it's a very different market. We're a independent. I am now a retail independent jeweller with my husband in Blackburn. But there's a lot of, you can access jewellery online. So for us, it's very important to offer that experience and that expertise face to face, and be able to talk everyone and actually show somebody what's different and why it's precious and why it's valuable.
Yeah. So you went from working in your own business to meeting Philip.
Yes, so Phil and I have known each other professionally for many years, but yes, I had my own business, Green and Ben's, and that was actually based over in Sheffield and Chesterfield. And then there were all sorts of different things that happened. I had another business partner, and we'd had a very challenging Christmas. It was to do with, in fact, some of the figures that Pandora were expecting. And my partner said to me, if you ever want a buyout, then we can always look at that. Wasn't even thinking about it, got in the car and phoned Phil and went, I'm selling my shares. And so it was, having 4 stores was quite a challenge. I think you either have one or you have a multiple. There was too many diseconomies of scale.
And was Pandora a franchise?
Yes, it was,
Right.
And it was a cash cow for many years, but I think it had just been bought out by a venture capitalist, and they were putting a lot of demands onto the store at that time. So there were several market changes. And so, yes, I sold out, and it's continued under a much bigger multiple umbrella.
Yeah.
And then from there, I actually worked as a consultant for many years. And one of the things I did was I was interim CEO for the company of Master Jewellers. Phil was always the director there. So Phil Ainsworth, is my husband, who owned Ainsworth Jewellers. And then it was the wonderful thing that was COVID, because overnight the consultancy work just stopped. It'd been fantastic. But I just then didn't want to sit at home. So obviously having our own business meant that Phil and I could go into the store on our own quite safely and following all protocols. And I just got involved and I loved it. And then we had this amazing night. We sat down and remember the wonderful sunshine and sat in the garden, glass of wine, fire pit going. And behind us is the hospice in Macclesfield. And we sat there thinking things through and thought, hang on, we're not earning any money. What's happening to charities? So we decided, why not work together, but do something different, do something special. So we decided if we were going to work together, it had to be important. We had to make a difference. Yeah. So we said we'd do it, and our values are charity, community and collaboration. And the very first thing we put together with Ainsworth Jewellers was Wendy's Legacy. And that is when we repurposed jewellery in memory of a loved one and give a percentage donation to the hospice. So we felt that was really important. We felt it was important to bring a business together that truly reflected what was important to us. And that's what we've continued to do with overwhelming and quite humbling success since then.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Ainsworth Jewellers then, because there's a lot of history behind Ainsworth. I know my mum and dad years ago would have gone into the store, which I've told you about before. Yeah. How long has Ainsworth been around?
Ainsworth is now 156 years old. Okay. Phil is 5th generation. Yeah. And it has this most incredible legacy. It was founded by Phil's great-great-grandfather, Joseph. It's had several locations within the town centre, and for the last 60 years it's been on Darwin Street, which is a little bit out of the town, but that was the kind of premium area after the Mall was built in the 60s. So it's got this incredible legacy. And
I know Phil's dad was running the business before Phil took it on. Yes. What are some of the challenges around taking on a family business like that, do you think?
An awful lot, very much. I think that it had been some challenging years that his father had seen. He'd lost his father probably too early. He had his brother involved in the business as well. His brother wanted out. He paid out his brother. The dynamics of the city, or the town as it is, changed a great deal. There was the internet. There was the Pandora phenomenon, which took a lot of jewellery away from the independent jewellers. And you've got the challenges of a northern mill town that it had gone through. And also, it was not on pitch. It was not where it should be. But I think Phil's father wanted to stay quite determined almost to see it through. He didn't want to let it go. So he was quite a considerable age and not wanting to leave. And of course, the last thing we wanted to do was to cause any offence or upset. But I think when COVID came, it was an appropriate time for him to take a step back. I think the challenge for me was I'd come from a very corporate background, most especially at Tiffany's, and having the financial background. So I wanted to change things. I wanted to see management accounts. Ken was still using the old Kalamazoo system. Yes, all I'll say is that now we very happily go round, and I think are still very welcome and look at and have nice family times. But now the business is completely owned by Phil, and also I have a 50% share now.
Right.
So it's ours. Okay. It's our business.
I know, because one of the things that I often find with some of our other clients is when they're taking on a family business and they've been involved in the business, the younger generation always have great ideas and want to do things differently. And there's always this sense of we've always done it that way.
Yeah,
so we're always going to do it that way kind of sense with the older generation.
There really was. And I think certainly with jewellery industry, because it's often inherited, as in this case, I mean, my husband had other experiences, but often they've been successful. You never need, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Never really needed to do anything. Phil had a lot of external experience, so did I, so we wanted to do things differently. Yeah. Since we've taken it over, we've more than quadrupled turnover since we've taken over.
Well done.
So it's been hard. It's very hard, but we've got there.
Yeah. So can you talk us through maybe some of the things that you've done to help you increase that revenue then? If you've quadrupled turnover in the last 5 or 6 years, then there's a lot of retail businesses out there who are challenged at the moment. So what are some of the things that you've done to help you do that?
I think the first principle that I brought in was we can't change certain things. And I think my husband being in the town for a long centre and seeing how it had changed, I think he was quite frustrated with it all. And I said, we can't change it. We looked at what we could do, not what we couldn't. My husband and I coming together, we are very different professionally, and we each bring a different and complementary skill set, and I think we're probably greater than the sum of our parts because of that. The first thing we had to do was to create a destination, because the footfall were not walking past the front of the store. We're blessed or cursed by a rather large business premises, but we decided to turn that into an asset, and we made sure every part of it told the story of us. First thing we did during COVID was we took out all of the white box branded furniture. And what we did was decide to very much brand Ainsworth. And what was Ainsworth about? It's not about the brands of jewellery that you see. It's about the family and the values, that is. Within the store, we've brought in beautiful furniture. And I like to say it's furniture that gives you a hug. It's lovely, comfortable furniture. We've deliberately offset the online experience. We want to welcome people into the store and enable to increase dwell time and really appreciate that. So customers come in, they feel welcome. There's a Museum of the Family History, which tells the great story of the business. Yeah. On the first floor, there is a permanent exhibition that we've curated in conjunction with De Beers Institute of Education. So there's the Lifeline talking about diamonds. I think the biggest thing, though, has to be the philosophy. And it's going to sound ridiculous, but neither of us are interested in selling jewellery. We love people, we love jewellery, and we want to put them together. So when they come in, we're not interested in what can we sell you. We need to know our clients first. And we get to know them by welcoming them. Yeah. We have a champagne bar, we always have the coffee machine, the kettle's always on. And within the building, there is so much space to just enjoy jewellery, but most importantly, be authentic and allow us to be there for clients at times that's important to them.
And one of the things that we talk about, which is so important, is customer experience.
Very much, yes.
And it's the difference between walking in somewhere and being served by somebody who perhaps doesn't know that much about jewellery and has just got targets to meet.
Yes.
And they'll say, what are you looking for? Yes. Or we've got this or that. Which one do you like the best? And somebody who really takes time to get to know people. Yeah. And having that customer experience is what's going to help people to refer you to others as well, and for them to come back again and again. It's what builds up.
I think repeat business. Word of mouth. The other thing is I think we have also really invested both in ourselves, because you never stop learning, don't know everything, and also our staff. So we're putting our member of staff through her fellowship with the Gemological Association and other diamond grading qualifications. But one of the things I did was I was very conscious that when I came to work in Blackburn, I didn't really know anybody. I was only in London. Within parts of my role, I was known nationally within the industry, but I didn't know people. And I joined a wonderful networking group, BNCL, which is where we met. Yeah. I also a part of another women's networking group, and that has been phenomenal. And it's gone from me not knowing anybody to walking into social events, and I know it's lovely. I hear, oh, hi, Helen, hi, hello. And that's been really loved. And that community of professional support has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And I can't thank the business community and people like Karen Thames and Helen Clark, who runs the Wibbon Group. I can't thank them enough for how we all look after one another.
Yeah.
And I think it's I would advise any business owner to look at doing that.
And Karen's very sparkly, isn't she?
Oh, isn't she?
Karen, we should give Karen Thames a shout
I
out
think
from
we
the
definitely
Business
should.
Network. She loves sparkles.
We
she
have a
loves
pair of
jewellery.
earrings that on every opportunity I try to get on them. They're known as the Karens. And boy, does she rock them. She looks fantastic in them. But it's everybody within that community. And what I love about the community is it's the same philosophy. You're not there to sell to one another. You're there to get to know each other. And it's only from relationships that real commitment can come for each other and sales.
Yeah.
But also, I'm an ambassador for every person that's in that networking group, and we've recommended other people, vice versa. And I think that's, especially in this world, you can feel quite professionally isolated, and it's really important that business owners get out there and seek the community, the support that's there.
Yeah, it's really important. So your store is becoming a destination store rather than passing trade kind of store.
Yeah, very much, yeah.
And I know that you've organised 1 or 2 events for people to come in and have a look at what you do and get to know you and Phil and the store better. What else are you doing to attract people to make it into that destination store? So how are you attracting people? What kind of marketing are you doing to attract?
Yeah, we've actually just we do our own social media, but we need now to take somebody on to do that.
Yeah.
So it's very visual, it's very beautiful. So it's lovely to be able to show. A lot of work we do is remodelling. And so the high prices of gold at the moment, lots of people are coming in and we're repurposing jewellery as well. But yes, the events are really important. I do a lot of public speaking and I just love sharing my expertise. But it's not about, this is a diamond, this is the 4 Cs. It's about things like, if these jewels could talk, what would they say? The journey of the world's largest diamond that was ever found. And it's also understanding the sentiments and the symbolism of jewellery.
Yeah.
And I believe the world that it is. Before I came into you today, I was reading the news and it's frightening. And actually, jewellery is the ultimate symbol of love. And we gift jewellery at important times of life to reassure somebody and to tell us how we feel. And I believe that never before has jewellery been so important. So I don't necessarily want to sell, because one of the things we can do is people are bringing in their old gold, their jewellery. 70% of jewellery that people that own is unworn in a jewellery box. People are bringing them in, repurposing it, selling the old gold that they don't want. They're going away with a new piece of jewellery and lots of cash in the pocket from the excess jewellery. It's crazy. But yes, the outreach, inviting people to the store is great, and that's lovely because we've got the museum, I've got the screen, I do lots of talks, we put on champagne, we put on afternoon tea, but also I go out. And our strategic development over the next few years is going to be going out to people more, be it in working with partners such as lovely hotels or pubs, but also offering an intimate fine dining experience where we will go out and take jewellery with us.
What a wonderful idea. What is your industry like in terms of employment at the moment? Are there many young people coming into the jewellery sector?
Yeah, it's like
sector?
any
Is
industry.
It a strong sector?
It's challenging. One of my roles that I want to achieve is being as an ambassador for the industry.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd end up at retail, and I don't want people thinking that retail it's something you do as a part-time job when you're a student. I wanted to bring a great deal of credibility to it. It is not by choice, but sadly Phil and I don't have the 6th generation. And we want to redefine what the business means. And we want to leave the business on to the next generation. But we want to find those people not by DNA, but by values. So we're working a great deal with universities, both locally and nationally. And our vision now is we are going to be creating a workshop on an area on the first floor of the store. I'm very honoured. I've just been offered my Freedom from the Worshipful Company of Goldsmith in recognition of the charity and the education work that we do. But I want to make this, our aim is to build a hub in the Northwest, in Blackburn, whereby we will have young jewellers, also old as well, but a range of jewellers, and we can carry on from the education from apprenticeships, but I can both in turn give them my experience, but we will be providing them with a lifeline of education and also employment opportunities. So it's ensuring that students are guided and have realistic expectations. I think, like a lot of industries, there can be a mismatch between what's been offered in the education system and what's available in the real world. Yes, I give out, I talk a lot at universities, and I give my 10 lessons of the things I wish I knew when I was a student and just getting into the industry.
We talked about this a little bit before we started
Yeah,
recording.
yes.
So do you want to give us
I'll give you very briefly. The first one is follow your dreams.
Yeah.
No matter how bonkers. How can somebody go home with a picture of a necklace and say, I want to have a career? And I'll give you an aside afterwards on that one. But yes, that's follow your dreams. Learn from the past. Ainsworth Jewellers, 156 years. I don't believe you can go forward without knowing where, unless you know what the past has been. I just think you've got to do whatever it takes to get a foot in the door. That's really, I just took any opportunity. So for me, it was really just making sure that sorry, I'm just going to get my notes. Sorry, Paul.
It's all right.
Sorry. Yeah, don't just do whatever it takes to get in. Yeah, here was the next one. Don't take no for an answer. So I didn't get a job immediately. When I was at university, I got told that my background and my family was just as important as my results, my A-levels results, etc. And then another one, just work hard. I had so many part-time jobs. I was doing so much volunteering. I just did anything and everything to learn as much as possible. Fifth one, think outside of the box. I never thought I'd get into retail, but part of the problem with jewellery is it's very creative and you have to monetise it. Yeah. And that's hard to do when people want to be creative. They have to earn an income. And I think you have to make profit. And it's almost like that's a dirty word, but it can't be. Yeah. I've never stopped learning and love learning. As I say, I'm still learning, and that's really important. Be true to yourself is the seventh one. And that's been the importance at Ainsworth. We took out all of the branding for the small brands, and we restored the original furniture, and that's what people want. They want that authenticity. Everything is a partnership. You and I are partners in things that we do. I think that's really important. That we with suppliers as well, we always say to them, what do you need from us to make it a success? It's not about us, it's about the team. And our clients are our partners as well. Yeah. And then finally, the last two, ask for help, which I think is what I did when I came to the networking. And then the final one, which is so important, is give back. And thank you. That's why one of the reasons I really wanted to be here with you today is it's lovely to share the experience that I've had, and hope that for either young people listening or other business owners, it does provide some inspiration and some resources or some insights.
There are so many young people out there who want to work hard, who are willing to do whatever it takes to get to where they want to do and to follow the dreams. I also think there's a sense of entitlement, nowadays. That I've never seen before the last couple of generations coming through. Yeah. Makes me sound really old, doesn't it?
No, but there is a difference, isn't there, with what our expectations are as employers and what young people are wanting.
And the world of work has changed a lot as well. The sectors that people can move into now are completely different. Working from home has become a much bigger thing nowadays. Obviously, in a retail environment, that becomes much more difficult. What would you say if you had one piece of advice for somebody who's just about to go into business, what would you say is the one key for them? If they're just about to launch their own business, what would you say is the biggest thing for them?
I probably think listening. The most successful people I've ever come across are those that listen. And I always say listening with your head, your heart, your eyes and your ears as well. I think one of the things that we've done as Ainsworth is we really listened and thought about what happened during COVID. And adversity is always an opportunity because the market shifts. And it played to our strengths because we did want to offer that personal touch. Yeah. But I think you've got to be very aware of what's happening in the world. It's changing more than ever. The rate of change is rapid. And I think the ability to adapt is really important, especially as a business owner. And you can be so blinkered thinking and you know what to do. Yeah. But I think listen to the advice of other people, and where possible, build up a network around you of support, because you literally can't do it. You can't do it alone, I don't believe. Yeah.
So what's next for Ainsworth then? Because you've just reported really great results that you talked about just before we came on air as well. How are you going to drive that forward and carry that great result forward into the next few years?
We've obviously had a significant increase in turnover, which has just been amazing. And it's not do you know, we don't track figures, we don't have targets. It's the last thing we want. Just love people coming in. So it's two things. It's to increase our way to be able to support people, one in store and two outreach. So Phil and I will be going out with more opportunities. We have a lovely event coming up at the Black Bull in Old Lango, and we have several others that we've got lovely partnerships whereby we can take our expertise, work with other people and create great experiences. So we're looking at doing one with the Gentleman's Outfitters, whereby Phil will be styled, we'll be showing showing our cufflinks, our men's jewellery, that sort of thing.
Wonderful.
Over a nice glass of something. Just let us meet people,
Yeah.
give them a wonderful time, and then if they need anything, we're there for them. It's not our business, it's our world. And doing more outreach is really important, but then also developing the store. And as I say, we have spaces left on the first floor, and converting the workshop is going to be a really big project. So I'm just writing my business plan for that at the moment.
Right. We often talk to business owners about building a business that's got an asset value built into the business rather than just the buildings and the stock that you have in the business. And one of the key factors in that is the reliance of the business on the business owners.
Yes.
You've talked a lot about what you and Phil are doing within the business at the moment. Have you got some plans to reduce the business's
Very
reliance
much.
on you and Phil?
You're absolutely right, and that's why it's a two-pronged approach. It's going to be building up the workshop, whereby our name will represent quality and all the trust, but not necessarily having Phil and I there. So having the workshop in and having a lot of people based there will mean that they'll come for that, not for Phil and I. And that will be, but what we're planning to do over the next 5 years or so is impart our knowledge. I also work with the National Association of Jewellers, which is our supporting body in the industry. And I'm working with the education department to try and give them as much about our insight, because we're proud to think that we're one of the standout retailers in the industry. So it's now our time to pass that on as best as we can, document it, get it out there, not just for us, but for other jewellers in the industry. And then, yes, work on now this workshop and making sure that means Ainsworth's name will live on despite having Ainsworth there.
Amazing. And I know you and Phil love what you do. So
yeah, we do.
It's just about having that choice as well, being able to know that the business will run whether you're there or not, isn't it?
Very, very much. And we have also provisions. It's important that we protect our staff that we've got. They're very important to us. So no, it can't just, if something happened to Phil and I overnight, they have to be secure. They have to have. Yeah. But yes, that's going to be our legacy, the bespoke workshop and Ainsworth's carrying on. It's not going to be, as I say, Phil and Helen. It's going to be Ainsworth means best practice. Ainsworth means trust.
Amazing. Couple of quick questions for you. If there was one piece of advice you could give to business owners who are out there at the moment, we said it's uncertain times at the moment. What would be the best piece of advice you'd give to existing business owners out there?
Existing business owners. I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because whenever I go to all these businesses, people need to enjoy life a little bit, and I'm thinking, God, I'm working too much. I'm just doing the opposite. I love what we do so much, and I guess it's perhaps to be kind to yourself. I think one of the things that I know I need to do now is, I used to have a personal trainer and I've let that slip, and I need to go back. So I'm going to give myself some advice, and maybe the best piece of advice to give somebody else is look after yourself. And I need to get fit again, because when I had a healthy mind and a healthy body, I had an even better, really healthy approach to my business. Yeah. So I think that's possibly... Somebody said to me recently, make sure you get a chance to smell the roses. And I know that I'm not doing that at the moment. I think probably getting fit.
I think it's one of the things that we talk to our business owners about a lot.
Really, yeah.
And there's some science behind that as well. If you've got a healthy body, your mind is healthier and you can make better decisions, quicker decisions, and you're more focused when you're healthier.
Yeah.
And I've seen that myself. I've been on a bit of a fitness drive over the last few months, and I've seen the impact it has on me in a work environment. Yeah. It's incredible the difference it makes. The other part of that is, what is it they say? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. There is that part of it as well.
That's how it feels. Yeah. It is such a joy. And I think because Phil and I obviously are a married couple, but we live and work together, what we really love doing is we go walking, and unbelievable, that's where the ideas come from. And we're so lucky in this beautiful area now, because although we've lived in Cheshire, we've bought a property up here now to enable us to do more, being based nearer the business, but it was also to get out and enjoy the fresh air, and that's really good.
What's it like working as a married couple? Because whenever I've seen you and Phil together, you've got on amazing.
Yes,
you've always been really, really good together.
We laugh. I think, as somebody said, can you imagine two of me in a business? It'd be a nightmare. We are very complementary. I think I'm the one I'm the real driver. I'm not, let's do this and that. Phil's he brings the reality to it about what we can do. And as I say, he has this legacy of this fifth generation business. So I bring the dreams and the bonkersness, and he's very sensible and sorts it out. But then also, sometimes I can be sensible and then he comes out with the most brilliant ideas. So The lovely thing is, Phil and I we knew each other professionally for many years, and then we were friends for a while, and then this involved when both of our personal situations had changed. So I have so much respect for him, which is phenomenal. But I also wonder if there's sometimes a little bit of magic. When I started at the auction house, somebody recognised my surname and said to me, "Oh, Dimick, have we just sold a collection of yours?" So I went, "No. I'm not from that, not from that sort of family." And he said, "Yes, James Dimick. James is my brother. It's my grandfather. I knew it was a family name." And he went, "James Dimick?" "Yes." He said he was a watchmaker and a watchwinder for Queen Victoria. He was known as Dim Dot Menderclock.
Wow.
So unbelievably, my father, we didn't know this, but my great-great-great-great-grandfather was a watchmaker for Queen Victoria.
Amazing.
And we have found a James Dimick clock in the Royal Collection. So I don't know whether somehow or other, maybe he knew Phil's great-grandfather, but there's something written in the stars there that we were perhaps destined to do this and destined to bring this. It's got to have been in the DNA there, very much.
It's amazing how coincident. They're not coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences.
No, but that is.
So there's something in there. Definitely.
Yeah, that is because, and so that's probably the other thing. I think we do laugh at ourselves a great deal. One of the things we've done is we've created ourselves a coat of arms, but it's got either side of it. The shield. It's got Phil's a Leo, so it's got the lion. I'm a bit bonkers and I love rabbits. It's got a bunny, and then it's got a tiara in the middle. And Phil's clocks. It's got my loop, Cheshire, and then Lancashire represented, and it's just
brilliant.
Fun. And I think you've got to enjoy what you do. And that's probably the lesson. Life's too short, isn't it? So enjoy what you're doing.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're coming towards the end of your time now. But I just wanted to ask you, are there any particular people that you follow, any podcasts that you listen to, any books that you read, any videos that you've seen, anything like that you'd recommend people have a look at?
Tony Buzan's books were really, really amazing. The world of podcasting is new to me, so I'm going to listen more and more. I think for the jewellery industry, I still learn a lot. So I think that it's always looking and seeing what's out there. And there's new publications. There's a lot of good books in the industry. Helen Molesworth has just written one. My old tutor, Marcia Poynton, has written some incredible works out there. So I guess I take a very academic approach to the industry. So no, but I think I'm going to be listening to every single episode of these podcasts and learn from those.
Good to hear. Well, you'll see some of the other members of the business network on as well.
Yeah.
We've already had Philippa King-Smith on.
Oh, she's
as well.
fantastic.
And we've got some other people due to come on shortly. Chris Burns is recording a podcast tomorrow with me.
He's hilarious.
So
yes,
he's brilliant.
Yeah, you'll have a great time with him.
Can't wait to talk to Chris.
I think I kind of listen and learn from everybody around me. And one of the things that we've been working 6 or 7 days a week. And one of the things that we are doing is we're having this kind of root and branches assessment of the business done at the moment. And it's important that I keep learning from other, local expertise as well.
Okay, brilliant. How do we find Ainsworth Jewellers and Helen Dimmick? What's the best way to look you up?
Yeah, we have a new website. So that's ainsworthjewellers.com. And you'll see a lot on social media about us. That's Ainsworth Jewellers. And we're based on Darwin Street in Blackburn. So it's not quite the city centre, but the great thing is there's car parking just outside.
Are you active on LinkedIn?
Yeah, a little bit on LinkedIn when I have the time. Caroline, our lovely store manager, she puts things on for us.
Okay.
So
and
yes.
In terms of social media, what's your favourite platform? Where will be
probably Instagram because we're such a visual business. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but always I just say we're just everyone's welcome. If you want to just come and see what we're all about, if you want to come and have a look at the museum, you want to look at the exhibition, you can do. There's 2 other businesses there. I have a business called Inspired Couture, which is a range of vintage-inspired beautiful dresses, and I also have a company called Wedding Friends, which is a one-stop destination for all local suppliers for wedding and occasions. So there's a lot of reasons to come to the store.
Brilliant. Helen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us.
Real pleasure. Thank you for having me.